We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hội cập nhật thiết chúng sanh, tịnh chiến diệu phạm luân giao đạo ngã mộng, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạp lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam Mô Sa Đan Thù Sư Chế Đô Ye Ở La Hơ Đi San Miao San Pu Tô Xế. Nam Mô Ta Đắc Ta Tô Yà Đà Lya La Đê Tam Miệu Tam Bồ Đà Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I am able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai qian wan jie nan zao yu wo jin jian wen de shou chi yuan jie ru lai zhe shi yi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Tutor, Great Master YongHua, O good monks and nuns, and all good knowing advisors, Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、智者大士、师父上人、各位出家人、各位善知识，弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa trí giả đại sư Hữu Thượng Tiên Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 22nd of June 2024. We're here at DTT to continue discussing the Vimalakirti Sutra. Thank you for joining us. We're on slide 52. So this is the very beginning of the sutra, the introduction part, where they, like a French word is mise en scène. They set up the general description of the assembly. So I have heard is the phrase that the Buddha told Ananda to use for all the Buddhist sutras. All Buddhist sutras begin with I have heard. This I have heard. And I have heard here is a phrase that denotes that Ananda, and among with the other disciples of the Buddha, heard the sutra personally. So this is a direct transmission by the Buddha to Ananda himself, because there are times when Ananda was able to accompany the Buddha, okay? And therefore, this is something that he heard it, and many of his disciples heard it. These are the sages who heard it, and therefore you could believe that this is what they heard. Okay, the hearing has two meanings by conventional language use. That's you use the ear, the this is a primary means of Dharma propagation in our world. We use the hearing, the ear organ in particular, to do the transmission, to teach our students. And so by ear organ here is assumed that it's undamaged, and so there are two requirements for the hearing to take place, among other things. You must be able to hear, and in particular, you also intend to hear, okay? And so, as far as Ananda's hearing is concerned, he was hearing it personally when he was at the assembly, when the Buddha was speaking the Dharma, or because the Buddha started speaking the Dharma before Ananda even joined the assembly and was worthy to be part of the assembly, the Buddha repeated the previous lectures or previous sermons for Ananda's benefit, so that he later was able to collect all the Buddha's teachings. And also, during the sutra collection of the Buddhist Tripitaka, what they used to do before is every time they got together, in order to preserve the teachings, they would use to get on the Dharma seat, like here, okay, much more elaborate, of course, and then they would recite from memory, okay. And so whether it's Ananda or the other disciples, Ananda would be reciting the sutras, and Upali would be reciting the Vinaya. So they recite from memory what the Buddha taught. Okay? And what about this Ananda character? Ananda is a cousin of the Buddha. He's a very famous, he's a very, very big shot in the world of Buddhism, because according to the middle sayings, no, not the proper Dharma. This is one of the collections of Hinayana teachings that's shared with the Mahayana. We have shared the same teachings. Ananda has three qualities. Ananda, the worthy one. Ananda, the upholder. And Ananda, the vast ocean. Okay, that's what makes Ananda Ananda. What is Ananda, the worthy one? He's a worthy one because he's able to uphold the Tripitaka teachings. He has tremendous, tremendous photographic memory. His memory is incredible. And what does he use his memory for? He uses memory to memorize the Tripitaka, which is extremely difficult, which makes him a worthy one. It takes a lot of merit and virtues, a lot of blessings to be able to memorize Buddhist teachings. So at the time when I'm aware, I heard that Master YongHua used to allow his disciples to go into seclusion just to memorize sutras. Okay, and they could only do that after working in the assembly for years, okay, to accrue enough blessings to be able to do that. Then Master YongHua then provided them with the facilities and support for them to simply memorize sutras. Okay, and this is, of course, you probably heard that Master YongHua can memorize the Tripitaka himself. So we see how many blessings he has. Okay, and so Ananda is Ananda, the worthy one. All right. Another meaning of Ananda, second meaning of Ananda, quality in Ananda is Ananda, the upholder. So upholder here refers to the fact that he's the one who is upholding, maintaining the teachings shared by the Great Vehicle. What is the teaching shared by the Great Vehicle as compared to the teaching unshared by the Great Vehicle? This is the teaching shared by the Great Vehicle refers to the Hinayana store. Hinayana teachings is the same exact one as the Mahayana store, the Mahayana teaching, except of course the language. Hinayana is transmitted using Pali, and Mahayana is transmitted using Sanskrit. But they basically are the same exact thing. Okay, so they shared the teachings as well. The teachings consist of the Hinayana Sutras and the Hinayana Vinaya. So they both share the same thing. Okay, even though it's the same thing. Actually, that just are the teaching marks, but the substance is different. Okay, and so you may see the same words, the same characters, but the substance contained in the Hinayana teaching is quite different from the substance contained in Mahayana teachings. Well, one day you understand what it means. It's not what you think. So, for example, when in the future I hope to send more of my disciples who understand Chinese to go to Taiwan and learn more about the precepts, marks, the Vinaya. There's only a few countries left in the world where they are practicing the Vinaya marks, precept marks, meaning that they follow their certain procedures, they study the Vinaya or rules of morality, and then that's what they do. And very rare you find in the world where you find support for such temples. And in Taiwan, there's still such temples. So I'd love to send more of you to go to Taiwan, to stay there, maybe for a year or two, so that you learn about their precept marks, okay? So, meaning they recite things, they study things, they discuss things, but only because that will complement our precept substance, meaning in Mahayana, we transmitted to you the precept substance already, but that's an expedient the Master Hsuan used to transmit to us, to my generation, the precept substance. But he never really transmitted the precept marks, meaning the actual description of the Vinaya. So we should go and learn it so that we can have the complete Tripitaka here in the U.S. Okay? And so that's the teaching shared by the Great Vehicle. Ananda, the upholder, is the one who can recite the precept marks. Ananda, the vast ocean, refers to Ananda, who is also able to memorize the unshared teachings by the greater vehicle, the Great Vehicle. That is the Mahayana teachings, okay? Mahayana Sutras, including the Shastras, okay? And so that's Ananda's role. And this is also a proof to you, for us, to see that the Buddha, in Buddhism, is very, very nuanced. It's very many-dimensional. Ananda appears, has the appearance of an arhat, but actually he's a bodhisattva. That's why he's able to memorize the unshared teachings or the Mahayana teachings. Okay, and so we call it Arhat, and at the time he's basically, by the time the Buddha died, he's basically first stage Arhat. Okay, but so that's the wonders of Buddhism. There's many things that are way beyond your comprehension. It's not the way you think, simply put. Okay? And so that's why Ananda is considered by us to be the vast ocean, because the Mahayana teaching is as vast as the ocean. If Hinayana teaching is big enough, it's very small compared to the Mahayana teachings. Okay? And so in the Lotus Sutra, it says, when Ananda heard the Buddha's prediction, in the future he'll become a Buddha and so forth. Okay? That's what the Buddha did in the Lotus Sutra. He looked at his disciples and said, oh, you, Shariputra, in the future you become a Buddha by such name and name, by during this kalpa, kalpa by this name. Your Dharma will last as long, how long you be teaching, and how many disciples you're going to have. And your Buddha land will be called such and such. So the Buddha also made a prediction that for Ananda, is that Ananda, you too will become a Buddha in the future. So the Buddha saw into the future. He said, okay, this is what's going to happen to you. And for sure, if he looks at maybe her, I'm not sure, the Chicago girl, okay? When he looks at her, he'll probably can give her a prediction as well. He says, in about gazillion of kalpas, okay, down the road in the future, you'll become a Buddha believer or not. So that's what he does. The point being that we all planted the causes for Buddhahood, all of you tonight. So if the Buddha saw us, he can give us a prediction as well. So don't make him wait for too long. Okay? And so when Ananda heard the Buddha's prediction, he immediately recalled infinite and countless Buddhas, their teachings, preserved, and recognized his own vow. When he heard that, all of a sudden, his great roots matured and remembered the countless Buddha's teachings in the past. Okay, and so he remembered it. So that's one of his roles. His role is in the Buddha Dharma is follow the Buddha wherever he goes, and then to memorize the Tripitaka and transmit it for the future generations. And that's his primary job. Okay? And that's what his original vow was. He made vows a lifetime after lifetime. Whenever there's a Buddha appear in the world, he would come and follow the Buddha and commit it to memory and jot it down in the form of Tripitaka. Yes, Way Mountain.
Thank you, Master. Can we say that the shared teachings are the gradual teachings and the unshared is the sudden teachings?
No. Shared teachings basically are Hinayana teaching. They're shared from Mahayana to Hinayana. So they have the commonly shared teachings. Unshared teachings are just too advanced for the Hinayana practitioners. Therefore, they cannot get it. Okay? So therefore, it's kept away from them. Gradual and sudden are something else. Thus I have heard, I is it refers to the false self and the true self. The Madhyamaka Shastra, and this is a Shastra from the Indian teachings, Indian Buddhism. It says there that, so in Indian Buddhism, the Bodhisattvas wrote some shastras, and so it's preserved in Indian Buddhism, and then they were translated and transmitted to China and translated into Chinese. And then later on, the Chinese monks and nuns then wrote more shastras as well. So in a way, from this you can see that the Chinese canon, especially the Shastra basket, is more extensive than Indian basket. Okay, so this Shastra here, Madhyamaka Shastra, transmitted from India. Over there, it says that already, the knowledge is that sometimes Buddha speaks of self, sometimes he speaks of no self. And that's clearly because of the audience. The Dharma is always dispensed according to the audience capacity to receive it, to benefit from it. The Dharma is not spoken for the sake of trying to prove your knowledge or your prowess or your wisdom. It's always spoken in order to benefit living beings. Okay, so when you learn the Dharma, learn it from that context, not learning from, don't err into the side of the scholars where they err on the side of knowledge, of showing off, of getting recognition with their knowledge. Whereas in real Buddhism, the true intent of the speaking that the Dharma was in order to benefit living beings. Okay, there was only one reason for the Dharma to be spoken. You have to understand that spirit. We're speaking Dharma to you today as well, or in the future. Okay, it will always be the case. It's not about fame, notoriety, or profit. Okay, it's always about benefiting the listeners now and in the future. So relax. Now you're part of the Sangha. Relax. There's no need to worry about fame and profit anymore. You can be yourself. Okay? This is my job, to find a way to support you so that you can be yourself. You don't have to worry about a thing. Okay? And it will happen again in the future. Okay? Sometimes the Buddha speaks of itself, okay, to the ordinary people. And sometimes he speaks of no self, meaning he talks to some people who have more wisdom. So he says, yes, I'm confirming to you, your understanding of no self is correct. Okay. However, ultimately, in the Mahayana teaching or proper Dharma of the Buddha, there's only one teaching only, and there's neither self nor no self. Okay. And that's was proclaimed in a shastra from Indian masters. In this sutra here, we will also be learning about there is no self, there's no non-self, it's only non-duality. Okay, it's funny to me that some of the analysis of the sutra claims that this is a teaching during the period of Vaipulya or connective teaching. But you see here and when we explain sutras, according to Master Shehua's tradition, we try to explain to you, try to give you analysis, give you a gauge, help you gauge what type of teaching it is, whether it's agama, meaning Hinayana, connective, or separate teaching, or perfect teaching, and so forth. And so in this sutra here, it says here, according to Master Chucha, it says this sutra here is about no self and no non-self. That's all you'll be learning about, okay? And also about non-duality, and that is the true meaning of no self, okay? Okay, no self in Hinayana is not complete. No self in Hinayana is only beginning of wisdom. There's also no non-self. Okay, there's also more, and finally, there's also non-duality. Okay. So you hear about these profound Mahayana principles. Okay, this help you gauge, will help you assess when people trying to impress you, the monks and nuns trying to impress you, scholars trying to impress you. What they talk about is most of these people will not dare talk about non-duality, no non-self, no self, because it's not words. Okay, when we teach you these things, is for the express purpose of helping you get there. Whereas the scholars, academians, okay, outsiders, they only see this as words, as beautiful words, eloquent words, elegant words, beautiful concepts, superior concept. It shows how profound the human mind can be, okay? And that's what interests them, or intrigues them. Actually, for us, it's a state of mind that it is true that our practitioners experienced already, and they want us to experience the wonders of this state of being. Okay, in other words, when we talk about this, when your Mahayana teachers talk about it, they know what they're talking about. They know there's no self. They know there's no non-self. They understand about non-duality. Okay? Not just words. And that's true no-self. The ideal of authentic no-self in Mahayana. Okay, 56. At one time, the Buddha dwelt in the garden of Arapali, near Vaishali, together with a great assembly of 8,000 great bhikshus.
一时，佛在比耶离安罗树园，大比丘众8000人俱语。
Okay, commentary slide 57. At one time refers to, is one of the requirements of the sutras. Every sutra begins with a certain wording, that can be analyzed as into comprising of 6 different requirements. Okay, at one time here refers to, this is when the 4-4 assembly. What's a 4-4 assembly? Fourfold assembly refers to monk and nun. That's 2. What about the other 2? Male novice and female novice? No? Upasaka, upasika. Okay? Male layman and female laywoman. Okay? And there's the 4 assembly, in the 4 assembly, there's no novices. Why is that? Because as Bo-gyung is about to discover, when you become a novice, you don't count at all. We treat you like kaka. You're used to it, okay? It is an honor to be to have a chance to be treated like kaka. because that's one of the very important trainings to me, based on what I observed in Master YongHua's training. His life story is very, very important. Training is during the novice period. And nowadays, you don't want to rush it, okay? Especially after I'm gone, you don't want to rush it. You want to take your time. When I'm here, I give you a lot of shortcuts. But the Fourfold Assembly, this is very clear here. Novices don't count. Okay? They're there, but they're not there. That's a very good beginning of the training. You there, we give you some clothes, but you don't count. Okay? All right? And so, this is a moment in time where the sutra was spoken. Okay? And the Buddha is means enlightened one. Enlightenment has 3 different types. It's a self-enlightenment, enlightenment of others, and perfection or enlightenment. Okay? Let's be clear. Self-enlightenment meaning that you have to work at it. You have to see the importance of self-enlightenment. Okay? You become self-enlightened when that happens. You put an end to all suffering. No more suffering. Okay? And actually, life becomes interesting. Okay? So that's why enlightenment matters. It's advantageous. Okay? It's desirable. Meaning that when you're enlightened, you're self-enlightened, yourself is enlightened. When you are enlightened, then whenever you are suffering, you know how to end the suffering. Whereas unenlightened people, they may know a lot. Okay? And this is a litmus test. The Westerners talk about enlightenment. Okay? Many of them out there walk around claiming they're enlightened and so forth. And the real test of enlightenment is that you, very simple, you take a knife and you stab them and ask them, does it hurt? They say, yeah, of course it hurts. And then if you're enlightened, you should be able to stop the hurt immediately. And that's one of the Buddhist tests. Anyone is enlightened here today? Raise your hand. Okay? Okay, so I'm tired of hearing people, especially people here in the Western world, who claim they're enlightened, yogis and whatever, okay, whoever, okay. It's this test here. We should propose to them. You're enlightened. Can we put you to the test? Okay. Okay, maybe a knife is kind of excessive. We can take with something more reasonable. I don't know. Anyway, enlightenment, self-enlightenment, is that when you feel you're suffering, you're able to put an end to it right away. Okay? Enlightenment of others. What does it mean, enlightenment of others? See, the Buddhists explain it differently than I do, because they are not faced with a bunch of Western educated skeptics. What's enlightenment of others? Yeah, one.
Master, is that after you get enlightened and you help others to be enlightened too?
Enlightenment of others, that's correct. Enlightenment of others means that when you stab them, okay, they can stop the hurting themselves after you teach them. So enlightenment of others is the next step. If you enlighten yourself, good for you, but you're useless to your mom, to your son, to your daughter, to your nieces, to your nephews, okay? Because you can only stop, put an end to your suffering, to your hurting, but you cannot help others who are suffering. And so therefore, it is rather limited kind of knowledge. The knowledge or the wisdom, if you will. This is a special kind of knowledge that we call wisdom. Because wisdom here refers to the fact that, why is it called wisdom and not knowledge, by the way? Anyone thought about it? Huh? Why is it not knowledge, but we call it wisdom? What is wisdom? Let's try the Asian definition of wisdom. Come on. Asianers. Asians. What's wisdom? No one knows? Yes, 9.
No thoughts?
No thought. So why is it called wisdom? It sounds useless to me. What's wisdom? Go first. What is wisdom? It's a very fundamental part of life that no one talks about. When you're out there looking for a job, let's say you're a manager or a boss trying to hire someone, you're looking for some qualifications, yes? You said, okay, they don't call it wisdom. They call it what? Knowledge. What else they call it? Experience. Yeah? That's what they're looking for. Your training, which is knowledge, and then on top of it, they expect you to have some experience as well, meaning knowledge applied to specific situations, yeah, that you went through. So, but they are not looking for wisdom, are they? Not really. Yes, you too.
Thank you, Master. We have 3 YouTube comments and then 1 question. So first comment is from Jihong Sao. I got it right? Okay.
Close enough. I like to call it cow, but you know.
Thank you, Master. Jihong says, when you have wisdom, you know how to solve the problems you encounter.
But it could be experience as well. Number 2.
Number 2, Korean characters? Sorry, I don't know the name. Dukoron.
Close enough, yeah.
An idea that you can use without any thoughts.
Idea you can use without any thought. Next.
Okay. And third comment from Samson Lau. Wisdom is how you interpret things. Knowledge is what you know.
Oh, you interpret things. Okay. And what's the question?
Thank you, Master. Then we have a question from Cordelia Lee. Cordelia asks, Amitofo, Master, if the legs hurt and you asked, who is in pain, and the pain stopped, is this cheating? Should we endure it?
What it has to do with wisdom? Sorry,
Master, we had a slight backlog with the Discord server getting overloaded. So
Okay, no, just to answer Cordelia, what you're doing is okay. By all means, you can do that. That's it? No more? JC comment.
네, 준미님 답입니다. 지혜란 상황에 따라 유연하게 대처할 수 있는 능력이라고 생각합니다. 라고 답을 주셨습니다.
사옥스님 cannot hear.
This is from Jumi. The wisdom is the ability to deal with the situation very flexible.
Sounds like experience too. Wei Mao.
Wisdom is inherent. We all carry it, but we just need to unfold it. And knowledge is something that we acquired.
Or develop.
Excuse me?
Or develop.
Or develop.
Or invent.
Yes, thank you.
Or fabricate.
That's knowledge.
Okay? Anyone else? What's wisdom? What does Master Hsuan define wisdom as? Anyone knows? Wei Mao.
Thank you, Master. I think wisdom is the ability you have to solve problems, and knowledge is something that is repetitive, that you already know how to do it, and it's just knowledge that you learn from the world.
But you also can use it to solve problems. There's not much difference in the way you defined it. Anyone else? It's amazing, and you guys keep talking about wisdom, but you can't define what wisdom is. What's wisdom? What does Master Hsuan call wisdom? Anyone knows? Go for us.
Emitofuo, Master. I guess wisdom is the solution you have that come from the heart, and the knowledge that the thing it come from your brain.
Okay, so for example, the way you define it, oh God, these people are so, I don't know what happened to all the good students, disciples, Buddhist disciples. The way he defines it is that the wisdom comes, a solution that comes from the heart. So when you love your daughter so much, whatever you do comes from the heart. Therefore, that's wisdom, right?
Because the love is it clouded the heart, so it comes from the heart, but with the
unclouded heart. Then
the unclouded heart.
I'm glad we clarified it. Okay. So the love coming from unclouded heart. Okay, it sounds like we're getting more deeper and deeper into. That requires further definitions. What does Master Hsuan say about wisdom? Anyone knows? Oh my God, am I the only one? These are the things I memorized very early on because it caught my attention. Wow, this is a way to look at wisdom that no other people Can't. Way mountain. What's wisdom? You can cheat. You can look it up in Chinese, English, Vietnamese. I can't care less. Anything goes. What's wisdom?
Master, is that the ability to perceive things as empty?
Master YongHua's definition, wisdom, yes, Wei Mountain. I don't want to steal your thunder. Go ahead. What is wisdom? God, these are fundamental knowledge I thought everyone knew. I made, erroneous assumptions. It's my fault. I should treat you like elementary students. Yes, YouTube.
Thank you, Master. We have 2 more comments from YouTube. Let's see. Starting with Chris. Chris says, Webster Dictionary, knowledge usually refers to information or awareness that someone has about a subject. Wisdom refers instead to someone's good sense, judgment, or insight.
But wisdom sounds like it could be wrong. Next.
Thank you, Master. Next from Jihong. Jihong says, when you have wisdom, you have true happiness. You know what is right and wrong. You have no ignorance. You are not upside down. From DRBA's Dharma Talk by Venerable Master YongHua.
Good Lord. Wisdom, according to him. Okay, what are you talking about is a benefit of wisdom. Well, Zhong is talking about a benefit of wisdom. Wisdom is, by definition, from him, is to be able to see your faults. Ordinary people, when they're at fault, you tell them, they disagree with you. No? You tell them, for example, you're wrong. I say, no, I'm not. You're wrong, they tell you. You don't understand me. It's because they have no wisdom. Problem with stupid people, confused people, is that when you tell them, they don't get it. They don't believe you. They fight you. Whereas people with wisdom, when you tell them they're wrong, they say, maybe you're right. That's a difference. That's why in Buddhism, when we train people, when you don't have wisdom yet, we can only tell you so much. Okay? And when you have wisdom, then we tell you more. More about what? About your faults. When you have wisdom, we tell you about your faults, you get upset. Okay? And you slander us, and you retaliate. You take it as criticism. But if you have wisdom, you recognize your faults right away or very quickly. That's very profound. Wisdom from Master YongHua. I loved it. Agree or disagree? You don't have to agree with him. If you have something better. And this is very insightful, because this is when you teach people, this is why you look at people and say, do you have wisdom or not? You don't have wisdom, then there's only so much I can tell you. Don't overdo it. Okay? Very much like when you teach your children, their understanding is limited. Okay? So you don't overdo it. Okay? Same thing as a teacher, as a monk, as a nun. When you teach people, you need to know, you need to recognize people, if they have wisdom or not. You have no wisdom, then you have to go very, very slow. With the wisdom, then you can slap them. Yes, 9.
Master, it sounds like it's a limited use case of wisdom versus the full picture of wisdom to me. It's just like, yes, if you have wisdom, you see your own fault. What about the other use case of wisdom or other traits of wisdom too, right? So it's kind of hard for me to take it as the full definition of wisdom.
Yeah, good point, which clearly demonstrates you have no wisdom. If you dare talk, I dare answer. The beauty of the definition is that if you're able to see your faults, then you have wisdom to be able to solve lots more problems than those who cannot see the faults. Because what happens to those people who cannot see the faults is that they make the mistakes that prevent them from solving the problem that afflict them. Okay? And that's why they're unhappy. They may be rich, they may be successful, they may be famous, but they are still continue to afflict themselves because they cannot see the faults. So they expend a lot of energy, a lot of efforts, lots of money, makes a lot of investments in order to create more affliction for themselves. There's no wisdom in there. You can call it problem solving. Yes, I can solve how to make money, more money, okay? How to invest in real estate and so forth, okay? But that does not solve the fundamental problem that they have, okay? Because they cannot see their own faults. That's why their actions compound their problems, their fundamental problems, fundamental suffering. For example, very clearly, when I was a lay person, like most people, I used to, in my field, I used to look up to Warren Buffett because he's very successful. He has wisdom, clearly, okay? And he has a proven track record. But after I understand the Buddha Dharma, I realize that there's no wisdom in there. Why not? Because it compounds its problem. What problem he has? You don't make money by taking advantage of others. For example, I have a problem with him being the largest stockholder of Coca-Cola, which is selling poison. It's poisoning you, it's poisoning your children, it's poisoning me. That's why I drink Pepsi. Okay? I have a problem with that. You cannot say that he has wisdom because what's the point in making money when you are doing it at the expense of others' suffering? That bothers me. Okay? So that's why he's getting lower and lower in my echelon of people with wisdom. He has wisdom, definitely. Okay? But That's not a good use of his wisdom. He cannot see that. If he sees that what he's doing is harmful, okay? If you make a lot of money owning See's candies, when the rest of us are having issues with our children being overloaded with sugar and so forth, okay? It's no good for us. It's not worth making money to me. Okay? That money is dirty. Your children will not be able to put it to good use, to benefit from it, by the way. It's dirty money. They can't enjoy it. They can't be happy with it. And so it's not just solving problems, but even he, as an enlightened being, still does not see his mistakes. Any problems? That's why he has some wisdom, but not the big wisdom. Any questions? So, yeah, Chicago girl. Are you a Elon fan girl? You want me to comment about that? Yes.
Thưa Thầy, I just wondered that he had to pay for his own mistake, that cause and effect. He had to pay later.
He will. He will have to. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wei Mao.
Master, how do we cultivate the wisdom to see our faults, especially when we have to discern whether, let's say, somebody else has a point of view that's wrong about us? Just to give an example.
That's what we're doing at our temples. You are all in the environment where you're learning to develop the wisdom to see your faults and to be able to get help from others in the assembly. That's why it's a lot faster. No one could dare tell Warren Buffett right now because he's just too powerful, too successful. Okay? So he has no one to remind him he's wrong. And because he cannot see his own faults. Yes, he has wisdom, but we have blind spots as well. That's life. And that's the advantage you have here. Okay? And there's a mixed bag. Sometimes you have some people who are so confused, they come and they dump their afflictions on you, but also that's part of the training, where you will have some people, at times, who will point out your mistakes for you. That's how to help you develop your wisdom. Yes, you too.
Thank you, Master. Jihong asks, Master, I'm curious, do you switch to Pepsi in order to reduce Mr. Buffett's compounded problems?
I switch to Pepsi just to make a statement. But I don't like Pepsi. If I must drink, because I used to like Dr. Pepper with Neapolitan pizza. It's my weakness. Okay? Nothing like Dr. Pepper with a good pizza. Okay? When I realize it's part of the Coca-Cola empire, I refuse to drink it. Okay? And I'm at a loss. What the heck am I going to do now? If I'm going to have pizza, then I go for their competitors. Anything but Coca-Cola products, okay, to make a statement. It's disgusting to me for an old guy, like almost 100 years, and having this picture taken with a can of Coke with red and everything. That's so disgusting. Is money above everything? That's it. And it's so disturbing to me that he does that, and he's almost 100 years old. So he's basically saying, you can have good health and good fortune drinking Coke. It's disgusting. You have a Pepsi can? Can we do it right now? You don't have Pepsi? Only Xian Xin Shu, she likes Pepsi. Okay? If I drink Coke, I would stealthily drink it. I would never drink it in public. Okay, so it's a good question there. The question is that, this is what's so amazing about it. If you're in a position where you can see your own faults, okay, then you have wisdom to be able to solve the world's problem much better than someone who cannot see his or her own faults. By the way, when you talk about seeing your own faults, it also involves what I just gave the answer to Wei Mountain Temple person there, is that sometimes you don't see your faults when the others who are co-cultivators with you point it out to you, you'll be, you're right. That's why I'm hoping that Warren Buffett, he will never hear this. He will tune us out. But I hope, let me tell you, if whatever I've been criticizing him gets to his ears, I believe he'll change. Because he has wisdom. That's the difference. When people don't have wisdom, you tell them they're wrong, they get offended, and they attack you. Okay? Yes, 9.
Master, shall we make all your Warren Buffett comments into short videos so there's a good chance of reaching more people and potentially himself?
What?
Short videos.
Short videos? I don't want to promote myself. I have no interest in promoting myself. I just have fun. That's all. That's all I care about. I don't care to reach Buffett either, because that's seeking. And if he decides to give me like a few $1 billion to be grateful, then I'll be influenced. And I will start investing in Coke as well. Okay? I can be bought, I tell you. Buy me, please. Okay, so it's beautiful definition for wisdom from Master YongHua is that, just think about this. It's so difficult to be able to recognize your own faults. The nature of ignorance and stupidity is that we cannot see when we're wrong. Wisdom is that we may not be able to see, we make a mistake, but when people point it out to us, we get it. That's the difference. Wisdom doesn't mean that you never make mistakes. It means that when you make mistakes, you can take corrective actions very quickly. Don't be confused by the Westerners who say that wisdom is you're infallible. No such a thing in life. No one's infallible except for the Buddha. Buddha is never wrong. We have quite a ways to go before we get there. And so that's why in order for us to get there, okay, then you need to be able to recognize more and more and more and more and more of our faults. The more wisdom you have, the higher your level of wisdom, the more faults you'll be able to recognize. It's a beautiful definition, very profound. And that's problem solving, by the way, quintessential problem solving. If you cannot see your weaknesses, you cannot solve the bigger problems. Okay? Now I forgot about my definition of wisdom. Shucks. Yes, Wei Mountain. What's my definition of wisdom? I forgot. It's different from him. Better than him. Yes.
Thank you, Master. So, if wisdom need two parts, so one is gonna be checking in your mistakes, and the second one is reform. So, if we do repentance without wisdom, it's not gonna work.
No, it helps towards developing your wisdom. Okay, so my definition of wisdom, okay, is more practical than his. Yes, Wei Mountain. But you can choose, either go Master Hsuan Hua's way or my style. My definition of wisdom is the ability to make the right choices. Brownie points for the upcoming novice. Okay. What's the difference between my definition and his definition? Wisdom is to be able to choose right. Yes, 9.
To me, the difference is that if you can see your own fault, you should be able to choose right. So your definition seems to me be more ultimate.
I like you too. It encompasses his definition. If you recognize your fault, but it doesn't mean you can choose right. That's my problem with definition. You see that? So now you believe that Coca-Cola, investing in Coca-Cola is wrong. That's wisdom, yes, but it doesn't go far enough. What are you going to do about your mistake? JC.
주민인 코멘트입니다. 올바른 선택을 할 수 있는 능력은 사실 복도 관련이 있지 않을까요? 하셨습니다.
Master, is it related with blessing to choose the right thing?
Part of it, yes, absolutely. People have no wisdom, they still make the right choices because of blessings, absolutely. And also, on the other hand, because you have wisdom, you have blessings as well. And therefore, it's part of the equation. Anyone else? You see, the Chinese style is stuck on knowledge. He says, you have wisdom, Asian style, okay? Have wisdom, you're able to understand, you're able to see. My definition is that seeing, knowing is not enough. That's a low form of wisdom. My expectation of wisdom is that you must know, you must choose, make the right choices. That's real wisdom, not just knowledge. Not just recognition. Yes, 5.
I say the Phật thưa Thầy, I know if I know the mistake and I want to change it, and that's become a wisdom. But what about my witness? Is it the same thing too? he
That's
had to
nothing to
change
do
my
with
witness.
wisdom. You know, weakness is a weakness. You have gray hair as a weakness. What are you going to do about it? You have to live with it. Big deal. Okay? I'm not sure I'm answering your question. Don't think too much. Just memorize it. Wisdom to me is not simply recognizing your faults. Okay? It's very good level of wisdom. But my wisdom level is higher. I want you to make the right choices. That's what wisdom is about. It's not about recognizing your fault. It's about choosing right. When you choose right, you're happier. No? You don't choose right. That's why you... That's what people fail to see for themselves. They look at themselves, look at yourself mirror, and you look a happy face, then you probably make the right choices. But if you don't look at them, okay, no wisdom yet. You too.
Thank you, Master. Vicky Sprout follows up to your question. Master, if you have stock in Coca-Cola, should you sell it?
First of all, I have no stocks in Coca-Cola. So it's a moot point. What I like to do, what I'm hoping for, is that Mr. Warren Buffett will give me his stake in Coca-Cola and see what I'm going to do. Then I have a chance to demonstrate my wisdom, what kind of choices I make. Okay? All right. So here, yes, sir, one.
So, Master, how do we know that our decision is the right one?
It's the right decision because it benefits people, more people. And that's what point number 2 is about, enlightenment. Enlightenment is of others. It's about now you know how to benefit yourself. This is very, very limited wisdom. The bigger wisdom is how to benefit others. It's much more difficult. Okay? And that's, again, you see, that's included in this wisdom definition where the smaller wisdom people, they choose to benefit themselves only. Whereas we train you. You say, yes, you first need to learn to benefit yourself. No two ways about it. You cannot benefit yourself. How can you possibly help others? How can you possibly benefit others if you cannot even benefit yourself? So therefore, the next step, next high level wisdom is benefiting others or enlightening others. Enlightening others means that teach them to benefit themselves. Okay? That's the second level of enlightenment. And this is very practical because if you know how to teach others to benefit themselves, your wisdom is much bigger and your choices, you make much better choices. Right there. Okay? And number 3, when you perfect this, you perfect the fact that you can benefit anyone. Not just Koreans, not just Chinese, not just Vietnamese, not just women, not just cats. Okay? You benefit everyone, all living beings. And that's the wisdom of the Buddha. That's the ultimate wisdom. Okay? And even at his level, wisdom is still the same definition. You make the right choices. Buddha's, when he wants to benefit you, he makes the right choices to benefit you. Benefit her, and so forth. But recognizing your own faults is not far enough in terms of wisdom. Okay? That's talking about the wisdom at the level of the self. I'm talking about the level of others. All right? Any questions? Yes, 8.
Emitofuo Master, what's the difference between trying to teach someone to benefit themselves versus being a control freak?
First of all, you are a control freak. Okay. You don't know how to teach others. Not only that, you also are driven personally by this fear. FOMO, to use a investment terminology. FOMO, you know what FOMO means? Fear of missing out. You're not different from the stock traders or the investors. You fear of missing out. You fear of missing out on molding your son. Okay, that's an obsession of yours. There's no need for that. Okay, there's no way for you. You don't have the wisdom to really teach your son yet. Because for that requires you to have this kind of wisdom, enlighten others, which you don't have. You may be able to take care of yourself, but you cannot help others, not yet. Okay, so I guess your question, what you're driving at with your question is how do I benefit my son? Am I correct? We talked about it at lunch already. Stop bothering me.
Not just my son, other people too.
Okay. If you don't have wisdom to really, okay, this is what happens. If you really want to help others, you need to have the wisdom to enlighten others. There's no two ways about it. Know your limitations. Okay? Now, it's just words, but actually it is wisdom. Since, particularly for you, you don't have the wisdom to help others, and so therefore, in order to help others, okay, the best way for you to do is to give them blessings. Very simple. That process right there cannot fail. So that's why many of you, like you come to the temple and your family are against it. They say you're wasting time, you're wasting your money, they're a cult and so forth. Okay, of course it's understandable. Okay, and there's nothing you can do. And if you give them blessings, okay, enough blessing, they will stop complaining. It is beneficial to them, they will approve of it. Yes, Wei Mountain. So that's why, in other words, the best way for you is what you've been doing. Give them blessings. Eventually, they mature and they will be taken care of. But for you to try to do it, it's just not possible. You just don't have the wisdom to enlighten others. It's very, very difficult. Case in point, my peers, they're trained by the greatest Chinese teacher I know of, that I've read about. They, his disciples, cannot enlighten others. That's how difficult it is, folks. It's not that easy. You help them a little, but you cannot solve their suffering, help them end their sufferings. Yes, Wei Mountain.
Thank you, Master. So to do the right things, to take the good decisions, also has that you do it at the right time, that you accord with conditions?
Yes. You try your best. That's all you have. We can't guarantee you success. All you can do is try to provide wisdom for yourself, and then you continue, you'll be trained how to provide wisdom, help others develop their own wisdom. Okay? And that's a path you're on. Okay, we stop here today. Thank you, everyone.